Essentially overnight, you became one of the most famous at the time 17-year-olds in the country.
With hindsight being 2020, if I knew I was going to be charged and prosecuted for defending myself and protecting my own life, I would have stayed home. It's not worth it. I shouldn't have to worry about going out because somebody thinks I'm a white supremacist or a vigilante and they're going to attack me. I should be free to live in peace like anybody else. We had no idea where I was going to be spending the rest of my life, and thank God I'm spending it as a free man. But
thank God.
It could have very easily gone the other way, and I could be sitting in a prison cell or dead right now.
Gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, the Managerial Outcomes channel, a channel that lacks little rules and oversight and is not governed by the Geneva Convention. Today we are doing something a little bit different, and it's going to be the first of many, but I am joined by a very notorious person, Mr. Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle, how are you, sir?
Aaron, I'm doing great. We just went to dinner, had some food. It was delicious. I said I either want In-N-Out or Mexican, and then I changed my mind and said, you know what, let's get Mexican.
And you're in the right state, as Arizona has a good amount of Mexican food. So
Absolutely.
I hope it was to your standards now.
You know, you were with me, so of course it was.
Stop. You dog. We already had dinner. What are you doing over there?
Well, you bought me dinner first. So.
That's fair. That's fair. So, of course, we're going to talk about some different topics, and we're maybe going to harp on some old stuff you've already probably beaten to death in some aspect, but I wanted to start with a heavier topic of if you knew what was going to happen on that infamous day in 2020, would you have ever left your house?
Well, Aaron, that's a great question. With hindsight being 2020, as it always is, if I knew I was going to be chased down, attacked, my gun attempted to be stolen from me, and guns pointed in my face, I would have stayed home.
That's a very fair statement. Especially seeing, just even talking to you off camera, just seeing and talking about all the legal aspects that you had to go through and all that rigmarole.
Absolutely. Like, with hindsight being 2020, if I knew I was going to be charged and prosecuted for defending myself and protecting my own life, I would have stayed home. It's not worth it. It's not worth the trials I faced and the trials I continue to face in the civil action. It's honestly exhausting. It's stressful. And, yeah, I just would have stayed home if I knew.
I definitely feel for you, man. I mean, you really started out adulthood on probably the hardest setting I can imagine. Off the rip, having to go through all that. So more power to you on that aspect, man. I was curious, like, essentially overnight, you became one of the most famous at the time 17-year-olds in the country.
Yeah, it was a lot to bear, and I didn't even know like how widely spread my case was for the first couple weeks or months. And then when I got out of jail and then a little bit in jail, I just saw this outpouring amount of support and hate. Like, I saw these left-wing Democrats and politicians just attacking me, calling me a white supremacist, a racist, a vigilante, and none of those were true.
Right.
We disproved all of those. But because, like, what they said, people still view me that as what the media called me, and I shouldn't have to live my life like that. I shouldn't have to worry about going out because somebody thinks I'm a white supremacist or a vigilante and they're going to attack me. I should be free to live in peace like anybody else.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's crazy to see, it really is crazy to see just how politicized and polarized your case was, because it seemed like both sides really latched onto it, and you became a political figure essentially overnight of divisiveness. And to me, that was like, of course, it's nature of the beast, especially during that election cycle where they're going to latch onto stuff and say, hey, this is for my side, this is for that side. But you're at the middle of all that. You're having to live through that and navigate all that.
Absolutely. With an election year coming up, I just pray constantly. I'm like, wow, like, what's going to happen in 2024? Who's going to be the scapegoat for both the left and right to pull on?
Joe, man, that is wild. I mean, we even talked about a little bit of family dynamics. And one thing I was curious about is I don't think a lot of people realize how much pressure that level of notoriety that quickly can put on a family unit. And I was curious a little bit, you don't have to share too much, but a little bit of the family dynamics of that much just happening in the flash of a pan.
Yeah, absolutely. It was extremely stressful for everybody involved. Like, we had no idea where I was going to be spending the rest of my life, and thank God I'm spending it as a free man. But
yeah, thank God.
It could have very easily gone the other way, and I could be sitting in a prison cell or dead right now.
Like you said, there was an outpouring of support, which usually means a lot of financial support. I remember even seeing, before ever meeting you, I remember seeing like a lot of financial donorship going on. When money starts getting into the picture, it seems like when people are never equipped for that or never prepared for that, a lot of bad things can happen. Did you run into any sort of like financial things that you had to worry about in that sense? Like all that money coming your guys' way? Was it like a negative impact?
Oh yeah, I mean there was like lawyers and like grifters around trying to get their piece of it when that money was meant for lawyers, but figuring that out.
Yeah, because I mean it is like there's a lot that goes into a public-facing persona, public-facing folks, like especially at the higher levels.
Yeah.
And you were thrown into that just overnight, right? And so it's like there's zero infrastructure that existed for you. You have to figure out all this support on the fly. You have to figure out where's this money even coming from, or is it even intended for you, or are these like people grifting to saying, hey, we're going to donate to this guy, but they just pocket all the money, So that's something that I find really fascinating because it's, as someone that built an audience, yeah, there's money coming in, but it's all for a purpose. It's all got like a place to go. And it's like no one's making GoFundMes for admin, right? No one's like, hey, admin's in trouble right now. Let's get a GoFundMe and then just pocketing the money. So I was really curious, like your experience in that aspect of, okay, all this money coming in, because I think it's almost like the unpreparedness of it. You never know someone's background. I didn't know like what your financial situation was with your family or anything like that. But essentially like instantaneous overnight money can be a big problem for a lot of people. So to me, that was a one I wanted to probe about.
Yeah, absolutely. And there were a few like fraudulent fundraisers that were created by other people that never benefited me, just by like complete strangers that never really took off. There were just like the biggest thing was lawyers billing more than they deserve and more than that's ethical, and lawyers that are stealing from me and lawyers that are
Lawyers weren't doing what they were supposed to do. What? Dude?
Surprise, surprise,
What?
right?
Yeah.
And then like trying to use me to make a name for themselves, to grow their pocket, and it was a real eye opener for me, just to see that people can do that to a innocent 17-year-old kid at the time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, man. That is another thing. It's like just how young you are going through all that. Because I remember what I was doing at 17 was trying to probably chase girls and play football. Like I was up to no good, and like in a healthy amount. Like it was an appropriate amount of healthy 17-year-old activities.
Was it, Aaron?
What are you, my mom? Get out of here. What's the matter with you? No. I mean, I couldn't imagine being thrust into that, It's like when you're that young, you're still trying to figure stuff out, and it's just that level of media fame and notoriety it would just blow my mind. I think you handled it and everything got settled very well. So for that, I commend you. It's just like I still look back at that because I remember at that time I was in law enforcement, and so we were watching it. We even watched your shooting, and like we were breaking it down. It's like everything he did was by the book. Everything was good to go from what we saw. This is before. It's like I never knew you. I never knew I'd personally meet you at the time, and even still, I was like, all right, this guy's actions were all justified. He was doing everything like shoot, no shoot. Okay, good, and. Like at the end of the day, yeah, it's a sad situation, but people still put themselves in a position to ultimately make a bad decision, and you were just there to defend yourself.
Absolutely. It happens to countless Americans every single day. Americans justifiably use self-defense to protect themselves and their loved ones, but my case just unfortunately got twisted and thrown up into the media because it was at a riot.
Yeah, those riots were a good time. Very peaceful, were they not?
Peaceful, but mostly fiery. So 2020, you just got out of law enforcement recently, I believe.
So I got out in 2021.
Okay, so you were a cop in
Yes.
2020.
Yeah, that was a fun year.
Did your department get in any riots much?
My department, looking back, I think there was something happening down the street from mine, and I don't remember if I was working that night or not, but they didn't send them out. I remember I did help out with some like roadblocks and stuff after it all kicked off. Like they were asking local departments to come out and help out. But overall, I had it pretty easy compared to probably a lot of other cops at that time. Like my department wasn't in a position to really worry about a lot of riots. So that was kind of nice. But it definitely was a very interesting time. Like, all right, what's the game plan? It changed up a lot of SOPs, which sounds really nerdy when I say it like that, but standard operating procedures for law enforcement, for what's going to be in a patrol car, what are they going to plan to do, when there's a mass amount of people that start, committing crimes out and about. And it really showed, definitely in me personally, a lack of faith in the system, because when there is a failure in institutions and they're all focused up with the majority of the population rioting, if you call the police on another instance on that, like say a night like that, guess where they're all at? They're all at the riot. No one's coming to help you out. So in a way, I definitely reopened my eyes to, hey, a lot of your self-defense and your self-preparedness is on you. And I mean, to be fair, you're definitely of experience of that. I think the cops were right down the road from you, were they not?
We had the red and blue lights flashing down the road within a football field and a half, and that didn't stop the people who were trying to kill me from coming at me and pointing guns in my face and hitting me with skateboards and rocks and surrounding me. That didn't deter them seeing law enforcement that close. And I was in a situation to where I couldn't wait 5-6 seconds or however long it would take for law enforcement to get there. I was in a situation to where if I didn't act now and I didn't pull that trigger, I'd be dead.
Yeah. And that is living proof of the concept right there. Now, of course, we kind of cover in the heavy topic, and I wanted to divert after this, because people are going to see you in this video. They're going to want me to cover that to some capacity. So we've already covered this topic ad nauseum, and I was curious a little bit more of the Kyle Rittenhouse existence, because you are more than just one event, right? One event like that can definitely have a massive impact on your life. It can definitely alter the course of your existence, but as an individual, as a person, you're much more than just that.
Yeah,
so the
absolutely.
most important question I had to get the ball rolling on is, are you playing any video games right now? What are you diving into, man?
Aaron, I don't play any video games right now. You've seen how busy I've been the last week. Do you think I have time for video games?
Listen, when you get a chance, I'm not saying you're not a busy fella, Kyle. I'm not saying you're not rather...
And I don't own any console, so...
okay, was there anything you're jonesing to play? Anything you're going... you're a young fella.
I'm going to play that new Call of Duty game that just came out.
Okay.
That looks pretty fun.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to check that out. Yeah, that's about it. What about you, Aaron? What video games are you playing?
Oh, my man. So I'm a big Total War fiend. I play a lot of Medieval 2, Total War. I'm hoping one day a Medieval 3 comes out. You ever play Total War?
Nope.
Essentially, it's like a strategy game that takes place in these sort of different eras. This one's, of course, in medieval Europe. And this one gets my go. But to keep the interest and lack of bullying in the comments on me, we gotta carry on. Apparently, you're not playing any video games, which is very rare for a man of your age, my man. So it's good on you for not playing video games.
Now I'm gonna start. Sounds fun.
That's a good time, dude. No, it's really fun.
What I do most of the time is I just spend time with my dog.
Yeah.
As everybody knows, I'm obsessed with my dog.
What kind of dog do you have?
I have a golden retriever.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Man. Boy or girl?
It's a boy.
Yeah. Nice.
Great dog. Very friendly, very loving. He's not here with me right now. I usually travel with him, but a lot of the things that we're doing probably weren't safe for a dog to be around.
Sure.
So left him with a friend.
I have a golden retriever also, and I will say that they are probably, you can hate me in the comments all you want. They are the best dog ever.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we have other dogs like pit bulls and stuff, which aren't that great of dogs.
No, pit bulls are like the orcs of dogs. I don't like or trust pit bulls. I'm sure I have buddies that have pit bulls, and they all are like, "Oh, you can't say that." I'm like, to that, I don't care. Like, if you look at a pit bull, I'm always like, "What are you doing over there? You looking to plot for?"
What are you thinking?
Yeah, what are you thinking about? He's looking like he's ready to fight for Saruman. I just don't trust him. Dude. I just don't trust him.
Yeah, I don't trust him either.
Pit bulls over there like, dude, what'd I do? I didn't do anything.
Yeah, right.
Oh my gosh, dude. Well, we just filmed a video today on the American Rifleman, a little bit of concept behind that for my channel, and this was going to be a nice compliment for, that, to where we get to really dive into, you, right? So it's kind of the focus of this particular episode. And in that video, we're running a different myriad of ARs. So I was curious, have you updated your collection? Have you gotten any cool ARs up to date or any other cool guns?
I've got a few guns. I just got a Glock 17 Gen 5. I really enjoy it. It's being shipped to my FFL as we speak.
Nice.
Has a new performance trigger in it. Huge shout out to Vicar Tactical for hooking me up with his gun. Really excited to check it out, shoot it. Super pretty, super nice.
Nice, man. Very cool. Any other ARs or anything like that?
I have a couple ARs, just standard.
Yeah.
I have a hunting rifle from ARMO. It's a great company that stands for that has true good principles, that supports law enforcement and pretty much supports like an armed society and provide like having people and like making sure that people are armed so they're protected and like having strong people out there. It's Ella Armament, and they sent me out a Savage 110 Predator and 6.5 Creedmoor, and I really like that gun. That's one of my favorite. It has a SIG Whiskey 4 a SIG Whiskey 4 scope on it, and it's a really nice scope. Learned a new feature about it actually a couple weeks ago. It has a battery slot, so the Christmas tree actually glows red when you put a battery in it.
Nice. Now, there's always seemed like a project cooking on every gun guy I talk to. Is there any gun that you're just like jonesing to get, or it's a dream gun?
Oh, staccato.
Staccato?
Yeah.
Well, staccato, you heard it from the man himself. Have you ever shot staccatos?
I have. I really
buttery,
like them.
really buttery guns, man. Really buttery gun. I'm working on trying to finagle my way a staccato for my channel.
Well, staccato. Who do you want to do first?
Hey, all right, don't swoop this from me, buddy. Don't swoop this from me. I need this. I need this. No, that's cool. Is there just something about staccato that you just like? Is it the quality, or is it just the vibes?
I think they're really pretty.
Yeah.
Like, that's just a cool looking gun. They're reliable. They are pretty. They shoot like butter. They're super freaking accurate. I can hit stuff with the Glock pretty okay, but with the staccato, like my accuracy is just dead on, and my grouping is so tight with staccato. And they're just nice. They're nice, easy to shoot guns.
Yeah, they. I will give it to them. They have a very clean aesthetic, and that aesthetic is all sex appeal, baby. I love a gun that has a good look to it.
Oh yeah, especially with that American flag they have on the side.
It's pretty freaking clean.
Pretty American.
It's all American, baby. Now, we've talked about this, and I think, of course, you've hinted at it, even in the channel, or even in the video we filmed today. You hinted at your own YouTube channel. You have over, 100,000 subs on that channel?
I have about 100,000 subs on that channel.
And you have not posted a single video?
Yeah, I haven't posted anything. So I actually, all last week, I've been filming content to put out there that I'm really excited about. It's going to be super fun. And I'm not going to give any spoilers, but it involves night vision.
Oh, that sounds like a good time. Now, are you looking to make a career transition, or just have a YouTube for fun? Like, what are you thinking, man?
Well, I think I'm just going to make some YouTubes for fun, YouTube videos for fun whenever I have the time. I have some things that I'm thinking about doing, what I want to do with my career and where I want to go.
Twitter. You have a very volatile Twitter. Probably one of the more volatile Twitters I've seen in a bit, dude. How is life on Twitter for you?
Oh, it's so fun. I love going in and reading the comments or reading the messages I get where people are like, I'm going to fucking kill you. I'm going to cut your head off. And I'm just like, you know what? Threaten me all you want. That's a crime, buddy.
You know, it's usually what we see on social media is like Facebook has become like super, at least like clean, family friendly. Instagram's got a nice comeback story right now. Instagram, for the most part, used to be very like sanitary in the sense of people wouldn't talk too much trash, but this seems like in the comments section on Instagram, I've been seeing a lot more trash talking, which I love. But Twitter is like the most volatile platform, and I'm all for it. It's like the social media for Xbox lobbies, if you're totally just unaware. But so it kind of like anything goes. Anyone will threaten you. There's a bunch of different ideologies on Twitter, so it makes for a very engaging platform, and that's kind of what the name of the game is now. Like, there's definitely a thing, I think, where people have been diving into just making controversial posts for no reason because they can get paid off of Twitter. So, which I mean, this is totally a tangent, but I feel like a giant scam is platforms like Instagram, how they don't pay their creators to just post.
Oh, yeah.
And that's like a scam we've all kind of just accepted because we were all hoping to get famous off of it.
Yeah, I really don't know how Twitter ad revenue works at all. Like, I know
neither do I, to be honest.
I'm signed up, but I just have no idea
Yeah.
how to do it or what to do.
I'm sure you'll figure it out. You better figure it out.
It seems like nobody's really figured it out.
Yeah.
Like, I think, like, you just post a lot.
I think so. I think once you get a bunch of interactions, it unlocks. You can kind of like monetize it, which I like. I like the idea of getting paid for posting, especially if people vibe with it, and your platform can make money off of that.
One
if you're just
post
posting
I
something
put up
for free, it's just-
I put a post up a couple days ago. I did a little bit of a range day, and I got some like brand new pants, and people are like, "What?" Like freaking out because I had like fruit snacks and creases still in my pants.
Oh yeah.
It got over 25 million views on Twitter, and I was just like, "How does that blow up?"
Yeah, I saw one guy who was talking trash. He was like, Kyle Rittenhouse posted this about training. What is he training for? Then he started making fun of me for the fruit snacks. And I was like, one, it's an American right to train. Two, fellas get hungry when they're training. Dude, fruit snacks are delicious. What are you talking about? Dude?
Yeah, absolutely. And wasn't dirty because I wasn't rolling around in the dirt. Most of the stuff I was doing was standing and shooting and moving very slowly and shooting because when I train, I like to move slow, work my way up to it until I'm proficient in that skill, learning how to do like mag changes. But people are like thinking that I'm doing like some super like dirty training, like scaling a mountain. No, I was like learning from some special operator guys how to change, like do magazine changes, how to shoot under night vision, how to move and shoot under night vision.
Yeah.
And that was really the extent of what we did.
Now, were you running one or dual tubes?
I was running duals.
Nice, man. Is that the first time, or is it like a first time doing some real training?
So
or?
I've hunted under night vision
Yeah,
and under
yeah.
thermal. That's the only time I've really shot under thermal. But that was like my first time running and shooting with
Yeah.
night vision, IR, and thermals.
It definitely is a different experience.
Oh yeah, you definitely have to take it slow so you don't have any range accidents
Yes.
either.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you really develop like a whole nother sense for is moving and like functioning in the dark, especially working around your kit, working with your helmet, your nods,
Yep.
swimming through your rifle sling. It's definitely a whole new branch of skill tree you have to develop. So I'm happy you got some like time in that because it is so
absolutely.
much fun. It is probably the most fun I have when I go shooting is shooting under nods. And this is the best time of year to do it. At the time of filming, it's wintertime. So best time of the year to do it.
Yep, absolutely. And I didn't realize how cold the desert here in Arizona gets at night. I was doing a couple ride-alongs with Pinal County Sheriff's Department, and I was sitting there outside of some calls, and the first call I forgot to put my jacket on. I was freezing.
Little chilly guy.
Little
dude.
chilly.
Welcome to the desert. It gets cold at night here.
Yeah,
dude.
I mean, it's cold back home in Texas right now. Really not looking forward to getting back tomorrow because I think it's like 30 degrees when I land.
That's too cold for me, man. That is way too cold for me. How have you been liking Texas thus far?
I like Texas. Texas is a nice state to live in. I really like mountains and like a little bit of snow on the top of the mountain, but I like cactuses and like the desert. I think it's really pretty. Texas is really flat,
Yeah.
and
That's one thing I'll definitely agree with you on. When I go to visit Texas, I'm like, I enjoy Texas, but I do miss the mountainscapes that Arizona has. So I just don't know how those guys do it without seeing a massive mountain in the distance. And I think the mountains just look beautiful. Like I'm a little sucker for them.
oh yeah, and like you can go hiking on them, and there's just so much to do when you have mountains.
You can chase them Mexican fellas around down south of the border. Hey, what you rancheros doing down here, huh? You can do stuff like that. It's a good time. There's a lot going on. We got rivers here. You could be a river rat. It's fun.
I'm huge into wakeboarding, and like Lake Havasu and Lake Powell are like apparently really big wakeboarding lakes.
They are, yeah. I mean, you have to think there's nothing else for body of water going on here. So a lot of lake rats will head over there and get their fix in. This is not an ad for Arizona. Do not move here. This place sucks.
Yeah.
This place sucks. Do not live here. Do not come. Do not come. Do not come. Do you wanna move here?
I mean, potentially, I'd have to think about it, look into it. Of course, next place I live, I'm probably not going to advertise it as much as I'd advertise living in Texas.
Yeah, you're one of those fellas I'd say keep that close to the vest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say you want to...
Moving to California, everybody.
Moving to Berkeley, California. Here we go.
Moving to Berkeley.
Those seem like your style.
What's that one
fellas.
really ghetto neighborhood called in Los Angeles?
Is it Compton?
Compton. Moving to Compton.
Yeah, go check out Compton. I'm sure you'll have a good time.
Yeah, I'll have a great time. We'll be fine. I'll walk out fine.
So here's a question I have for you. This is a very important question. What is one of your favorite movies?
Oh, that's a good question.
It doesn't have to be your favorite movie. Or this, when I said that, what was like the top list that came to your mind?
I'm not gonna sound gay on camera.
Dude, it's your favorite movies. Your favorite movies.
What is my favorite?
I'll tell you something to make you feel better. One of my favorite movies is Wonder Woman.
Nice. Never seen it.
It's actually pretty.
Aaron, is it because you think Wonder Woman's hot?
Listen, Gal Gadot is a beautiful woman. Okay. And Chris Pine in that movie did an excellent job, and I like the thematics of historical fiction. So to me, it was a decent movie, and I like the director Zack Snyder. So
Nice.
I can articulate why. Your Honor, my client pleads guilty. Wrong defense lawyer.
I'm trying to think of this movie I watched. I really liked it. It was like a law movie. I think it was called like The Lincoln Lawyer or something.
Oh, is that with Matthew McConaughey?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yep. I like that one. I thought it was very interesting.
Did you like it because you two went through a very traumatic court experience?
No, I liked it because I thought he was a good attorney.
Or you're like, where's that guy, dude? Where's that attorney when I needed him?
My attorney was absolutely phenomenal. He actually kind of reminded me of Mark Richards in a way of like how good he was.
Yeah.
And blessed to have the attorney I do now, and the one that got me acquitted, Mark Richards, of course, Shropsy.
Yeah.
But it's a good movie.
That was not a dig at Kyle Rittenhouse's attorneys. That was a joke for legal reasons.
It was a dig at the former attorneys.
Kyle, you're going to get me into trouble on my own podcast, dude.
Oh, it's okay. They can't sue you.
That's fine. Okay. All right. I can say whatever I want. First Amendment. Thank you. What else you got?
Aaron, I had a couple questions for you.
Are you trying to turn the tables on my own podcast?
Absolutely.
You know, because you have a better KD ratio than me, I will say you can ask me.
Aaron, for new beginners getting into firearms, what are the first things they need to do when they have the gun, they have everything they need, they have the holsters, they have the slings, the optics, the RMR cut. What do they need to do?
So this is what you're gonna do. All right, you're gonna look at your loaded handgun and you make sure it's not loaded. You're gonna pick it up and check the barrel. You can look down the barrel. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. That's for legal reasons. That's a joke. The first thing I would say is definitely scoring away a good kit, right? So you're in your hypothetical, you're saying that everyone is all like
brand new, never fired a gun in their entire life.
Do they have all the equipment that I would recommend them to buy?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm assuming they have the budgetary concerns. The next thing, of course, is training.
We'll go with this. They have basic rifle, AR-15 rifle, Glock handgun, and let's say some basic body armor.
Okay. First and foremost would be physical fitness. Are you training to be able to withstand the weight of all that kit and be able to function in a setting that could be extremely stress-inducing? Now, this is talking about adrenal dumps. So there's a little bit of things that happen. So in very extreme settings, you're going to have an adrenal dump. Now, the nice thing is if you are in that setting and do it over and over and over again, your body's going to get used to adrenaline dumps. And pretty soon, the amount of stress that you'll feel, you won't really ever have that again.
You'll still have the stress.
You'll still have the stress, but like in that setting, what you'll see a lot, and like I remember my time as law enforcement when I first started, like the first hot tone, the first call where guns were drawn, I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. By the end, and this is just 2 years, by the end, it was like I'd be driving to a crazy call and I'm like drinking a Bang energy drink, checking the laptop real quick, and I'm just like thinking about what am I going to do when I get off work, and it was like someone's been stabbed, they're fighting. I'm like, all right, cool, I'll go check it out. Like you get very used to it.
I mean, it was really interesting on my ride along because I kind of felt that in a way. Like I produced so much adrenaline during my shooting. Like we're going to a call and pretty much just like I wasn't nervous at all. I like wasn't scared.
Yeah.
Like, I was just calm and I was thinking about something else. We were just having a conversation. And then we went to another really hot call where we were flying down the highway and we're just having a conversation about what we were going to get for dinner after.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good lesson on stress inoculation. And it's one of those things where it's all on you. Like, I can't tell you what your stress inoculation level is at. Chances are you can do stuff, though, to help prepare for that. Like, that's why physical fitness is so stressed, because you are going to have a massive, if you're like the first time exposure, the best thing you can fall back on is being like athletic enough to handle that situation. Like, I remember there was a video floating around the internet where this big old fat lady was walking her baby along in a stroller, and then she was stumbled and the baby just got like let go and started just, like literally rolling to oncoming traffic towards it. And I remember thinking, like, one, that's literally a nightmare situation. This fat lady just could not get up, and she was probably having some sort of adrenaline dump, and she could just not get back on her feet to get to the baby. And I remember thinking, like, oh my God, if that person had an iota of physical athleticism, that would be not a problem. Like, it wouldn't be a problem in the first place for like the baby just strolling away. But if you take that and apply it to, you know, a situation where now firearms gets involved, because chances are it's going to be a much crazier situation. Right?
Oh, 100%. Absolutely.
It becomes that much more imperative. And I even like think that I'm not to the shape that I want to be. I want to be like Superman level in shape, go forever
Not
cardio.
Superwoman.
Not listen, buddy. It's not supposed to be like I'm a simp for. I thought it was a good movie. I was trying to make you feel better about your poor movie choices, but it's essentially like that becomes that much more important. So all that to be like, I would rather start my gun career off as a hyper athlete than some hyper tactical nerd like that knows everything about every gun part. The next thing, of course, would be training. That's where the next level of stress inoculation will come in, is like, okay, knowing your weapon and then knowing how you function, like if you can do a shoot house, if you can do force on force, because getting the basics down of manipulating a weapon is super easy.
Oh,
like
100%.
It's very quick, very fast. You'll get really quick with your draw, really quick with your reloads, really quick with your manual of arms, working through malfunctions. That stuff does not take long. Of course, you can always be a master of your craft and working on it, but then I would say really focusing on the like force on force, and especially applying force on force to reality, which can be very hard, like on certain situations, like training the most realistic situations you would encounter, and then you can always work backwards from there. Like, you know, most realistic is like some dude tries to rob you or something like that, or someone tries to break in. So you train, if you can, at some capacity, training force on force in that setting. And then it's like, okay, what's other scenarios I may encounter? All right, the Russians falling from the sky. All right, now we're going to train these large, you know, small unit tactics. And it's like, okay, so you kind of go through, I think, a threat priority of what you were most likely to experience, and then work your way backwards from there. Because I think I don't know if you are like super hyper in tune, but I follow a lot of guys, and there are some guys out there doing suit training or like small unit tactics training, which I think is awesome. I'm all for it. But how does that apply to like the normal guy that's really focused on a 9 to 5, doesn't have that much time it is already? Like is he going to get out there?
Walking down the street, like
right? It's like most likely you're going to be using a handgun in self-defense, because that's what you're going to have on you at all times. So
learning how to appendix carry,
right? Yeah.
draw.
So I mean, statistically speaking, as far as self-defense situations are concerned, I'm all for all of it. It's just a matter of time constraints.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So that's the decision. I wish I could learn everything, and I wish I had, you know, I wish you could learn everything. I wish you could learn everything, you know. But it all comes down to a matter of time. So
what you're saying is quit your job, live in a camper, and train 24/7 hours a day.
you know, that's one route.
Not
That's
even
one
in a
route.
camper. Go full.
Yeah, have your family
survival.
leave you. You know, they're gonna say, "Why is Dad always training?" But damn it, man, you're gonna be the most well prepared guy out there, dude. But I mean, you can't cover all your sectors, so you need friends. You need other friends that are gonna leave their families to live in campers with you.
Not even campers, because we're going full survival mode. Like, you have to build your own shelter.
Oh, you know, I feel like a few buds out there in the woods could build a nice little fortress.
That'd be fun, actually.
I think it'd be fun. I mean, that sounds like fun.
Any man can build a house.
That's true, but can they build a fortress?
That is a question that only they can answer.
Yeah, that's a good point. Did you have another question you wanted to ask?
What is your everyday carry?
Everyday carry. Funny enough, dude, my everyday carry actually evolves depending on how much I want to carry. Sometimes I may carry a little J-frame 5-shot Smith & Wesson revolver. Other times I'm carrying a full-out Beretta, you know, LTT 92 FS. It just depends on how long I'm going to be away from the house, what I may worry I may encounter. And thankfully, so far, I've never had to use my personal gun in a self-defense situation. But it's all kind of dependent on there, right? Like if I'm just worried about staying comfy, especially during the hot summer months, I like to carry something light like a Glock 43X, because it gets so freaking hot during this time of year. Yeah, I mean, you show me yours, I'll show you mine. Like, is it what we're doing?
Yeah,
so,
it is. Oh,
Yeah.
we're both carrying 43
Yeah,
X's.
mine has the optic cut and the weapon light cut. We got to get you one of those.
Yeah, we have to get a light on that.
And mine has a Shield Arms mags. So
Nice.
the 15 rounders. We got to get you up to date. I see you got the Glock mags in yours still.
No need to diss on the Glock mags, Aaron.
They're not. Glock mags are awesome. I'm just saying the aftermarket Shield Arms mags for the Glock 43X are a godsend because now you can turn that mag capacity to a Glock 19.
That's pretty cool. You're going to have to send me a link. I'm going to have to get some.
Absolutely. Now, the problem with these, and I always talk about these in my handgun videos, is I love carrying subcompact pistols, but my performance with a subcompact pistol is super bad. So, well, not super bad, but compared to, say, if I was just carrying a 19, like my thing is, and my thought process is, okay, like worst case, active shooter, dude took a bunch of meth. Like I'm like wargaming all of this for like the most lethal version of this is guys got, say, some level of carbine, whether it be semi or full auto. He's head to toe in armor, and now your only hope is pretty much landing a face hit at distance. So that's like my thought process. I want to be able to do that with the handgun I carry.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really do that with the Glock 43X. I really can't. Like it's pretty.
Many people can't. I can't do that.
I try and do it from like 25 yards and out.
It's just that's too difficult.
It's pretty hard with it. For me, I'm sure there's guys out there that can, but the problem is the time of training it would take to really get there.
You know, I think it has to do with the trigger pull on the Glock, like how heavy that trigger is in a way, and just with that wall.
Yeah.
Like you jerk it a little bit every time. You accidentally jerk the trigger a little bit anytime you pull that trigger on a Glock just because of that wall break.
Yeah. I would agree. I mean, it's something you can be trained to. Like I've used a stock trigger on my old patrol Glock 17, and I got pretty good with it. I felt very confident with that gun. It's just with the 43X, it's just something about it that I'm just not performing to the level that I want to be at. So
Absolutely. Just being able to perform with the weapon you have. But if you have the options to like put a performance trigger in it, lower that wall break, or remove it, you're going to be a lot more accurate with that firearm.
I'm one of those guys, though. I don't really like messing with my Glock.
That's what
handguns.
gunsmiths are for.
This is true. Well, I mean, like, just in general. Like, I like to keep my Glock stock for whatever reason. It's just using my vibe. Like, usually. I have a few, tricked out ponies, but typically I like to keep my Glock nice and stock. So
Nice and clean.
Yeah, just like because the Glock design, man, it's just so freaking good. Like, it really is just so
nice.
good. They
It's
freaking
slick,
rest in
clean.
peace, Gaston. Watching from above.
He passed away a little bit ago.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
It was interesting how they were selling horse semen as a little sidebar.
Huh?
You never saw that?
No, tell me
So
about
one
that.
of Glock's big business ventures where they were selling horse semen.
Horse semen.
Yeah.
Like, that's a real thing?
The hands of God. I mean, it makes sense because that whole industry.
So
could
were
be-
they, like, breeding?
Yes, it has to do
horses?
with like breeding.
So
Where
were,
it's like if
they,
you have a stud.
chilling that semen and, like...
Yeah, I mean, if you have like a stud horse, and then you would take his semen and then of course use it to make other stud horses. Which I mean, that's all as far as breeding goes.
Well, you don't know if there are other stud horses. Because a stud horse is a male, correct?
I'm not a equestrian arts knower, dude.
I think a stud is a male.
I would assume so. I meant him as like I was trying to use him like stud as in like he's a great horse,
good looking horse,
great looking horse, like a Giga Chad horse.
Okay.
Also applying that he is a male horse. Yes.
Okay.
Because we can't get seen.
It's 2024 now.
Is it? You trying to get woke on my own podcast, dude?
Not gonna get woke.
What does a horse identify as? What kind of horse is it, man? What is a horse's pronoun? Long in face? What, dude?
What are your pronouns? Mine are free man.
Mine are Zim Zam.
Zim Zam.
God damn. Dude, that's a terrible line. I don't even know where I'm going with that. I was trying to be clever off the fly. I'm just not as good as you did.
You have to have them prepped. Like, you have to be able to read their mind. Be like, what is he gonna ask me? And then prepared.
Yeah. So you're a master of showbiz, dude. You've had so much time. You met. Haven't you been on a show with Tucker Carlson? I should say.
Yeah, I've been on Tucker's show a few times.
That's
Tucker's
crazy,
a good friend. I really like him.
Yeah, he seems like a really cool guy. That dude got hooked on the Zins though.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it makes sense. They're pretty. I can kind of get it.
Oh yeah, Zen is good.
I gotta ask, since you've met Donnie J, dude, what was Donald Trump like?
Donald Trump's a nice guy. He's super friendly, super opening and super inviting into Mar-a-Lago. Invited me there, had dinner, been there a few times. Every time I've seen him, though, it's kind of funny because he always likes to tell the story about when Mr. Grosskreutz, this guy who pointed a Glock in my face, he always tells a story about how if I didn't shoot him, I'd be dead. And the president is absolutely correct on that. If I didn't defend myself in that moment, I'd be dead. Same with every other moment that night.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of cool, president backing you up, man. That's kind of neat. All political divisiveness aside, I think that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
It's definitely a fun life at the expense of a lot of, personal trauma, financial trauma, stress. But hey, you got to meet the president, dude. That's pretty sick, man. That's pretty cool. That's pretty fun.
Hey, but I got to meet you today, Aaron. I don't think I've met anybody as cool as Aaron.
Dude, he's buttering me up, man. He's buttering me up.
Maybe I'll get him to buy me a staccato.
I'll see what I can do. When you start charming me like that, I'll see what I can do. Oh, I wanted to give you to this earlier, but I got a gift for you.
Oh, what is that?
So it's a blanket shirt. I got this made. I got one of these with beloved Finnish people. So when I was in Finland, I went for Finnish brutality, and I bought one earlier, like that wasn't like all my whole branding and everything. And then I started wearing it, and everyone loved it. So I was like, hey, let's do a business collab on this. It'd be really great for you and I. And of course, they did. But this is one of the admin marked, essentially like anoraks. Like it's a big old wool hoodie, and it is great for cold weather. I've been snowboarding in one. It handles up the snow pretty well.
Nice. That's awesome.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, that's really comfortable.
Yeah, it's nice in the cold. The problem is Arizona doesn't get like very, very cold.
That's not true.
It does on occasion, but it's rare for me to break out one of these bad boys. It really hurts my heart. But if I ever go visit like Grantham up in Idaho, I always break that thing out. I call it the Gondorian Ranger LARP.
That's gonna be fun. Maybe I'll have to shoot some content wearing it.
You should. Maybe if you listen, I'm not saying you have to or not, but it would be a great honor. So.
Oh yeah, it's cold in here. Let's keep my hands.
It's getting a little chilly, dude. Getting a little cold.
Well, I know you're feeling hot.
I'm feeling. You're making me feel all sort of warm and fuzzies inside, dude. So I'm curious, as far as work, what you got going on right now. Essentially, how are you making an income? What goes all into the Kyle Rittenhouse media machine?
Well, I work a 9 to 5. I don't charge for interviews. I do that, but I also just written a book. It's called Acquitted. It's available at rittenhousebook.com, and I pretty much detail my journey from like a young child growing up with a drug addict dad, mom working 80 hours a week to put food on the table, and just like the struggles I faced, and like just pretty much put my whole life out there on a book.
Oh, that's actually pretty cool, man. Where can people find that at?
rittenhousebook.com.
I saw some Karen lady. Of course, she probably wasn't a fan of yours. I don't know if you saw it too, but she was like, I just put 1 million copies of Kyle Rittenhouse's books in my cart. And she was thinking like it's going to clog up the system, not knowing how like the internet works.
Well, Karen, I'll tell you what. If you buy 1 million copies, I'll give you a 50% discount.
Well played, Kyle. Well played. Well done, sir. So you've gotten this, essentially what we're going to get into is you've gotten a massive adventure through unfortunate circumstances. And it's opened a lot of doors. It's gotten you a lot of life experience, but it's just the beginning of one chapter because you're still a very young man. You're 21. You have a long life ahead of you. You're still, I'm hoping to look to have some fun, make some new life experiences. Do you have any foresight on what is on the next horizon that you want to do?
Well, I'm still thinking about that. I'm thinking about like, what do I want to do long-term career-wise? Like, do I want to continue this media stuff for a while? Do I want to stop it? And honestly, just have to pray on it, figure out where I lean towards.
That's a good answer. Only God knows.
Absolutely.
So you got me there. Well, man, I figured this was a good podcast, a good look into a little behind the window of Kyle Rittenhouse, and I appreciate you taking the time to come onto the channel, talk to me, talk to the guests, and I got nothing else for you, man. Do you have anything you wanted to say to them? Yeah,
well, Aaron, thank you for having me on, and I was going through to see who was subscribed to me on YouTube. I didn't see your name on there, so
False. I actually subscribed.
Did you? Did you, Aaron?
I thought I did.
Oh, well, we're going to have to check that out again, but you check out my YouTube channel. It's just Kyle Rittenhouse. It's my channel. I'll be posting some videos there.
Kyle's trying to ambush me at the very end. Once you make some, you know what, buddy? Once you make your first YouTube video, let me know how you do. All right?
I've made my first few. I just have to post them.
All right. Once you post your first YouTube video, then we can talk.
Hey, by the time this airs, There'll be a couple up there.
Good. All right. Gentlemen, this was a fun little podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. I got nothing else for you guys. I'll catch you all on the flip.